I now hand the conference over to Mr. Neeraj Basur. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Neeraj Basur. We also have on the call today our Managing Director, Mr. B. Thiagarajan. I will be providing you an overview of the results for Blue Star for the quarter ended June 2020. The current financial year commenced in the backdrop of an unprecedented economic disruption. As a socially responsible organization, during the initial phase of the lockdown, apart from donating rations to the needy and personal protective equipment to the frontline social workers, we were at the forefront attending to the emergency equipment servicing needs of our customers, such as Kasturba Hospital, Chitradurga District Hospital, Karnataka, and Torrent Power Sabarmati, in their efforts to keep the essential services operational. The financial performance for the quarter needs to be viewed in the context of it being a challenging period for the economy as a whole and the HVAC and our industry in particular due to the ongoing pandemic. Most part of the summer season was lost and project sites were shut. It was in the third week of May the economic activities started opening up. Even as we speak, partial lockdowns are in place and various restrictions continue. Therefore, the results for Q1 FY21 are not comparable with that of Q1 FY20. Financial highlights for the quarter ended June 30, 2020 on a consolidated basis are summarized now. Revenue from operations for Q1 FY21 was rupees 626.02 crore as compared to rupees 1575.45 crore in Q1 FY20, a degrowth of 60.3%. EBITDA excluding other income and finance income for Q1 FY21 was rupees 1.36 crore as compared to rupees 114.85 crore in Q1 FY20. In Q1 FY21, there was a loss of rupees 29.47 crore before exceptional items as compared to a profit of rupees 107.96 crore in Q1 FY20. Our net loss was rupees 19.66 crore in Q1 FY21 compared to a net profit of rupees 76.84 crore in Q1 FY20. Carried forward order book increased marginally to rupees 2923.06 crore as on June 30, 2020 compared to rupees 2841.10 crore as on June 30, 2019. Capital employed increased to rupees 1186.58 crore as on June 30, 2020 from rupees 949.20 crore as on June 30, 2019 due to higher inventory levels on account of revenue degrowth. We raised 350 crore during the quarter through issuance of non-convertible debentures to fund working capital and to build sufficient liquidity on our balance sheet. Consequently, net borrowings increased to rupees 421.03 crore as on June 30, 2020 with a debt equity ratio of 0.55 as compared to a net cash balance of rupees 0.74 crore as on June 30, 2019. I will now cover business highlights for Q1 FY21. Segment 1, Electromechanical Projects and Commercial Air Conditioning Systems. Segment 1 revenue was rupees 312.44 crore in Q1 FY21 as compared to rupees 623.94 crore in Q1 FY20, a decline of 49.9%. Reduction in scale caused the margin to shrink significantly. In view of the financial and operational stress faced by a few of our customer segments, we have prudently made provisions for doubtful receivables and potential credit loss. These factors resulted in the segment reporting a negative margin of rupees 10.53 crore in Q1 FY21 as against a margin of rupees 33.53 crore in Q1 FY20. Order inflow during the quarter was impacted due to the lockdown, and it reduced to rupees 271.18 crore as compared to rupees 966.90 crore in Q1 FY20, a degrowth of 72%. Our electromechanical projects business. The lockdown during the quarter severely impacted bookings and had a major impact on our revenue. Only around 10% of the project sites were operational during the quarter. We prioritized and focused on jobs based on the customer's credit profile and collections. Going forward, the same principles of cash management will be followed as far as this segment is concerned. As the economic recovery post-COVID will be slow, the commercial buildings sector, which contributes a major part of our revenue, is expected to take longer to recover. Infrastructure and industrial sectors are expected to recover relatively faster. Carried forward order book of the electromechanical projects business was rupees 2040 crore as on June 30, 2020, as compared to rupees 2013 crore as on June 30, 2019, an increase of 1.4%. Commercial air conditioning systems, with the segments such as light commercial, medium-sized offices, educational institutions, entertainment and banquet halls severely impacted, both new order booking and billing were lower during the quarter. Consequently, we registered a degrowth of 66% in the billing. However, order inflow from BFSI, healthcare, pharma and government sectors were encouraging. Major orders bagged in Q1 FY21 were from Patna Medical College, Thyssen-Krupp Nagpur and MMRCL COVID Hospital in Mumbai. I will now talk about our international business. The international markets in which we operate were also impacted by the pandemic. However, easing of restrictions in some of the major markets enabled pickup in revenue in June. Revenue and profitability of the projects executed through our joint ventures at Qatar and Malaysia were also impacted due to the pandemic, though the operations slowly started to normalize from June. Our focus remained on the expansion of Blue Star product range and building brand awareness in the different markets that we are present in. We have also increased our marketing across digital media platforms to build awareness and brand visibility across these key markets. I will now talk about Segment 2, Unitary Products. Segment 2 revenue was rupees 274.85 crore in Q1 FY21 as compared to rupees 906.89 crore in Q1 FY20, a decline of 69.7%. Inability to sell during a substantial part of the peak selling summer season combined with additional burden of demurrage and detention charges due to the lockdown resulted in erosion of margins in this segment. Consequently, the segment result was a loss of rupees 3.76 crore in Q1 FY21 compared with a profit of rupees 98.91 crore in Q1 FY20. Room air conditioner business. In our room air conditioner business, our estimate is that the market shrunk by almost 65% during the quarter, with the conventional retail outlets and non-essential e-commerce sales shut till the third week of May. Our degrowth was also in line with the market. Even after the markets began opening up, the footfalls were lower and the priority was to liquidate the inventory lying with the channel since March. Sales through the e-commerce channel, including our own web store, gained traction, and the share of revenue through this channel improved to 12% this quarter. Commercial refrigeration business. Revenue of this business was impacted significantly due to loss of sales to the ice cream manufacturing segment and a complete shutdown of commercial establishments and educational institutions, which contribute a major share of revenue from storage water coolers and bottled water dispensers. The loss of revenue from these segments was partially compensated by increased revenue from customers in the essential services segment such as processed food, healthcare and pharma. Major orders were bagged in Q1 FY21 from Odisha State Medical Services Corporation, Royal Cold Chain Azadpur, and Indian Immunologicals Limited. Healthcare, pharma, food delivery and processed food segments will continue to offer attractive growth potential for this business in the new normal. Water purifier business. Impact of the pandemic on our water purifier business was relatively moderate. E-commerce channel continued to contribute to a major share of revenue for water purifiers. We continue to stay focused on establishing our brand as a trusted one in this category with well-engineered and reliable products, including the ones that offer alkaline water for boosting immunity backed by superior service. Given the growing concerns on health and immunity, the demand for water purifiers is set to grow, and we have set ourselves a market share target of 2.5% in FY21. The business is poised to break even this year. Segment 3, Professional Electronics and Industrial Systems. Segment 3 revenue was rupees 38.73 crore in Q1 FY21 as compared to rupees 44.62 crore in Q1 FY20. Segment results grew to rupees 10.18 crore, which was 26.3% of revenues in Q1 FY21 from rupees 4.42 crore, which was 9.9% of revenues in Q1 FY20. Data security systems business continued to do well on the back of digitization initiatives in the BFSI sector. Demand for healthcare products also picked up in the later part of the quarter. While corporate capex is likely to be selective, we expect the Indian digital payment sector and healthcare sector to grow further in the current scenario and continue to offer opportunities. With the wide portfolio of products and solutions forming part of our offerings, the prospects for this business segment is positive. Business outlook. We have taken swift actions to restore business operations with adequate focus on safety and well-being of our employees, channel partners, business associates, and vendors. Our manufacturing and supply chain operations are fully operational. We have cut the operating costs in line with the potential revenue loss and infused capital through long-term debt to strengthen the resilience of our balance sheet. We will continue to prioritize project execution based on cash flow. The room air conditioners and commercial refrigeration businesses are expected to gain traction gradually, and our expectation is that the market will get back to normal by Q4 FY21. Healthcare, pharma, and processed food segments will continue to offer good opportunities for the commercial refrigeration business in the new normal. Increased awareness on building immunity will offer good prospects for the water purifier business. Digitization and healthcare initiatives offer good prospects for the professional electronics and industrial systems segment. We will endeavor to overcome this challenging phase in a balanced and agile manner with focus on prudent management of working capital and operating costs while ramping up our revenues. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I am done with the opening remarks. I would now like to pass the call back to the moderator who will open up floors to the questions. Mr. Tyagarajan and I will try and answer as many questions as we can. To the extent we are unable to, we will get back to you via email. With that, we are now open for questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. A reminder to the participants, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have any follow-up, request you to rejoin the queue, please. The first question is from the line of Ravi Swaminathan from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for taking my question. My first question is with respect to the air conditioning business. If you can give a flavor on how the secondary sales has been in the month of July. How many dealers are completely open, and also the kind of inventory levels which are there with the dealers currently. I mean, how much above normal is it currently? If you can give a flavor, would be great.
Good morning. This is Tyagarajan here. June, if you are talking about room air conditioners alone, June came to something like 70% of the previous year level. July, we saw 77% as far as Blue Star is concerned. Okay, we do not know the industry how it is. My sense is that given the fact that we are maintaining the market share, the industry also should have recovered anywhere between 77 to 80% in July. This is in terms of secondary sales. This includes e-commerce as well. Now, your other part of the question is inventory. I am not seeing, if at all, it should be somewhere around 30 days more inventory should be there. It is not an unmanageable level as it was in 2019 when the summer failed. Basically, because people wouldn't have produced in the second half of March or April, so the inventory correction would have taken place with this kind of sales. In Q2, we expect the revenue should be at a 80% level because market will settle down. Normally, some part of the festival season also happens like Onam and all in second quarter itself. That's where we are. I hope I answered your question.
Got it, sir. And my second question is with respect to the debt we have raised recently. I mean, is it due to abundance caution with which we have raised this debt, or do we see some sizable deterioration in the working capital cycle for either or both of the segments?
We've talked about this before, and Ravi, as you're aware that we've been through a fairly compressed cycle of liquidity, where we didn't want to have any sort of refinancing risk on a balance sheet in the short duration. At the same time, we want to make sure that there's sufficient liquidity which is there with us for a mid to slightly longer duration in view of this pandemic-created uncertainty. So it's a mix of that, and of course we want to make sure that we have sufficient working capital financing available so that growth resumes as normally as we can, and financing does not become a constraint in our process of growing back again. So those are the major objectives.
Got it, sir. And my last question is with respect to the composition of your order book among commercial real estate, industrial, if you can give a breakup.
Commercial real estate at this point of a time should be, the terminology commercial real estate also has to be understood. It is good that you raised this question. We don't look at it as commercial real estate per se. So we have to look at within commercial real estate. I don't think, for example, healthcare is impacted at all. It is the offices, malls, hotels. These are the segments which people may postpone execution or shelve the project or maybe under liquidity crisis. So which we are conscious of. We are evaluating the individual credit risk profile. Even if they say execute, we are not executing unless we satisfy ourselves that there is liquidity, this project is going to happen. In that context, the buildings that are potentially impacted, as I mentioned to you, offices, hotels, malls, that kind all put together in our order book in the segment or both electromechanical projects as well as package air conditioning, maybe around 30%. But here again, our exercise is not complete for the simple reason, as you can imagine, we will be the last one in that particular project. The civil, if at all there will be some interior that will be pending there. So there are customers who are saying complete this project. Quite a few such projects are there, including a very large hotel. We may end up executing it provided there is no credit risk. So roughly around 30% are the total impacted segments pending order book. But within that 30, we cannot say all are not going to happen. This is where we are.
Got it, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ranjit Shivaram from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I just wanted to understand this new Atmanirbhar theme which the government is trying to play. Yeah. So, what percentage of our imports are from China? And we know that China has scale and that gives cost advantages. So, when we move that to India, logically the cost should increase and that will impact our margins unless and until we pass on the price hike. So, how do you see this and what is the solution for this? What is your strategy to address this issue?
This answer what I'm giving is meant for you and many others will have the same question. So number one is that I am part of the high power committee which is engaged with the government or the DPIIT with this matter. Point number two is that there is a phased manufacturing program which is announced under Atmanirbhar Bharat. Number three, Atmanirbhar Bharat is as of now just a nomenclature, right? There is nothing called a program under which what all will be done. There is nothing. There is misconception under Atmanirbhar Bharat. There will be some subsidy. There will be a new industrial policy. There will be blah blah blah. There is nothing like that as of now. But it is very clear that there are certain sectors which are prioritized under Atmanirbhar Bharat: air conditioners, furniture, leather, shoes. These four are prioritized under that, which Mr. Piyush Goyal himself chairs in talking out the roadmap and the way ahead for this. Now, next one I wanted to correct is it has got nothing to do with China. It has got to do with every import. It is not China alone. Now, the government went ahead with non-tariff barriers. Long ago, Atmanirbhar Bharat was announced. It is only, it perhaps expedited that. Otherwise, couple of years ago, the program to introduce a non-tariff barrier called Quality Control Order or a QCO was introduced, by which the Bureau of Indian Standards will define the standards and the testing procedures and clear every component or a finished good that is coming from any country. And of course, when they say any country, they are targeting China in this, okay? Now, therefore, a couple of years ago, Blue Star's own risk management framework called for reducing dependence on imports, particularly China. Okay, and we had a target to reduce it to a level of 15%, including the components. Okay, by 2023. But we are expediting that. Okay. Now, in this, the finished goods, our dependence has been not strategic in nature. It is tactical, depending on the volume of a particular SKU. For example, we have got 134 SKUs in room air conditioners. We will go ahead and select some SKUs which are not worthwhile to manufacture here by us or by any third party within India. We may end up importing. And so therefore, finished goods, we do not have any problem whatsoever in case under Atmanirbhar Bharat program, other than the non-tariff barrier of Quality Control Order of BIS, if there is a likelihood that import license will be introduced, there is a likelihood that custom duty may be enhanced. Keeping this in mind, we have mitigated our full complete unit, anything getting imported, unless and until it is a small quantity, it doesn't have any weightage or material in nature in terms of our revenue generation or profitability. The key point is, under Atmanirbhar Bharat, they want all the components to be manufactured here. That is what the discussions are going on. Now that is a level playing field. Any player in India, whether it is a Japanese or Korean or an American, all of them get their components, including Japanese, get their components only from China. Koreans get it from their Chinese factory. Now, India doesn't have scale for compressors or motors or drives. And copper, which is called the inner grooved copper tube, or certain materials, okay, like aluminum or zinc. The details are being worked out because it is level playing field. It will not impact Blue Star alone, it will impact the entire industry. What is the agreement that we have come to is, one, if there is an Indian manufacturer, we do not mind buying from that Indian manufacturer. Two, they should allow Chinese manufacturers to set up here because their costs are lower. They have already committed investments. Like, for example, world's largest compressor manufacturer known as GMCC, he has set up a facility here. So he could not complete the commissioning. Should encourage Chinese direct investment if it is going to take place here. Similarly, drives, the party called MEGMET. So MEGMET also is ready with the factory. So the third point we are saying is that look, go ahead and grow the market, then only India will be competitive in terms of components. Otherwise, all of us are going to incur more costs in terms of components, and in the process, the customer will end up paying more money. So the government has notified, you all might have seen the draft of that, a draft-based manufacturing program similar to that of mobile phones, where over a 5-year period, the custom duty will go up for this product as the indigenization efforts will increase. Simultaneously, with many Indian parties who have potential interest in manufacturing components, discussions are on. There we are committing quantities to them, all manufacturers. We are providing them all the details so that they can go ahead and set up. Government is enabling that. Say, for example, aluminum fins for heat exchangers. Hindalco is called by the government, so AC industry players have explained to them what we need. Say, for example, a TVS group company is being talked to for setting up motor facilities, manufacturing facilities, so on and so forth. In finished goods, we have absolutely no problem. In components, it is a level playing field. The government has fully understood this program. They know every aspect of it, and therefore it is being done systematically.
Okay. Thank you for that elaborate explanation, sir. Second question is, how do you see the growth of room AC this year? This is my second question.
Sir, I'm so sorry, but we have participants waiting in the queue.
So I can answer that. The question, as I told you, that room air conditioners alone is already reaching in terms of the revenue around 80% of last year level in Q2. I expect in Q3 it to touch 90. Very likely Q4 it should come back to last year level. But as far as the industry is concerned, it is possible if March, there are no more infections, we are behind the COVID-19. In that case, even it can look at a 5 to 10% market growth. So the revenue generation part is going on smoothly in that business.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I'll join for this.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankur Sharma from HDFC Life Insurance. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Good morning. Thanks for your time. So my questions are again on the room air conditioner industry. So in your opening remarks, you mentioned that the industry shrunk by about 65% in Q1. All I was trying to understand was, how would the north versus the southern regions have fared, given the fact that the lockdowns were in April, and then, which is again April and maybe beginning May, which are the bigger seasons for the south, but then, you had a relatively better selling time, right? All the way till June for the northern markets. So would it be fair to assume that the southern parts would have been worse off both in terms of absolute volumes and also in terms of inventory at this point versus the
Good question. I've understood the question. It is the very first signs of showrooms opening in South was in the May last week. And that too, it is alternate day, limited hours, like that. By then, Kerala market had, the summer season was over, southern region was over. Little bit of Andhra Pradesh was there, but again, Andhra Pradesh also had quite a few restrictions. It is fair to assume that predominantly the sales came from northern region and western region. Even Gujarat and Maharashtra did reasonably well during that period, not Mumbai, upcountry Maharashtra. So in the month of June, the overall recovery was to the extent of 71%, out of which the north would have seen something like 85% in the month of June.
Got it. And it's fair to assume that inventory levels also would be slightly better off on the northern side versus the south. Is that correct? With dealers?
I do not know about the industry. As far as we are concerned, what you are saying is true. It is southern regions inventory level is high.
I understand.
Relatively.
Sure.
But as I told you, the real issue is not inventory this time. Unfortunately, the industry players did not anticipate. My assessment is as follows. I don't think industry or even Blue Star anticipated 70% recovery to 70% in June or 77% in July. Therefore, the price levels have dropped. That is the problem.
Right.
Inventory is not an issue at all.
Sure. So on the pricing front, despite inventory not being an issue, you're saying that it still is a problem?
Yes, because if the market has collapsed, everyone would like to see their revenue recovering and convert whatever is inventory is there into cash. And if the price levels are dropping, that is you need to react, right?
Okay.
So across the board, the price levels, we are witnessing a drop in the order of around 10 to 12%.
Okay, that's helpful. And so my second question on the project side, also, how is the labor availability? How is the execution? I think you said about 10% of sites were open, if I remember the number correctly.
In Q1.
Of course.
In Q2, it will be up to around 25% in Q2. I will give you a picture. That is prior to lockdown. All put together, we would have had around 10,500 people. And around 150 very active sites operating. Okay. And right now it is reduced to something like 50 sites, and which would have operated with around 3,500 people. But what we are having today is somewhere around 1,500, which is at a 50% level. It is not only due to non-availability of labor, because we want to make sure there is safety out there. In the sense, the number of people who will work in the same place is restricted, so on and so forth. And but our revenue pressure is, I wouldn't blame it on the labor availability alone. It is to do with the credit risk profile of the customers. We are very clear, unless and until they are going to pay for the work done or settle the payments that are due, we won't mobilize to a particular site at all. In that business, our interest is not market share also. It is cash profit is our interest.
Right. Okay. All right, sir. Great. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitin Arora from Axis Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi. Just continuing one question I had on this, the scheme which you were talking about. So let's say So compressors, so as you rightly said, the scale and let's say even GMCC and Highly are there, and the balance sheets they have, they can really expand. But coming to ODU and IDU, given whatever the domestic EMS company we have in India, they themselves are so much dependent on the supply chain abroad. But if the PLI scheme comes in, let's say for an IDU or an ODU, supposedly IDU should be more because that's we import a lot. As a brand, would you be interested in applying in that PLI scheme? Do you think taking advantage of that PLI scheme can we really help in getting some exports, or can really lower the cost for the domestic market? Is there something on that level?
Yeah, number one is that the ODUs we do not depend on China at all. As far as IDUs are concerned, we have been importing from China and some parts, but our indigenization program started year before itself. I anticipate this year we would have completed most of the indigenization of IDUs. Now, I am not very sure government is thinking of any incentives for IDU manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing. Actually, this is one of the things. See, under phased manufacturing program, they are not providing any incentive. All that they are saying is, I'll keep increasing the customs duty every year. So go ahead and indigenize. That's all the thing is.
Mm-hmm.
The government has not committed any kind of an incentive for anything. They are forewarning the industry. I am going to stop. I am going to make it difficult for you to import over a 5-year period. If you want to indigenize, go ahead and indigenize. So therefore, all that we are saying is it is fine. We are supposed to create our value chain. It is perfectly fine. But the fact of the matter is, an Indian market is some 7 million and 110 million of China. Obviously, they will be competitive. So therefore, if you increase the duty, they will reduce the price because they have excess capacity out there, correct? Now, there are, fundamentally, I have a different philosophy. Let us say I feel like eating pizzas. I have to make it at home. And I am buying all the ingredients, I am investing my time with all that the total cost of it come to 400 rupees, whereas by a phone call I can get it at 100 rupees. I should not be stuck on a Atmanirbhar pizza, right? So therefore, the question is that what is good for the country has to be done. Then do it. By all means, go ahead and indigenize. And why I will indigenize IDUs? Number one, we figured out that I am able to make it, despite this small volume of Indian market and our own market share, by designing it in some way. So there has to be an innovation. Against scale, if you want to compete, only innovation can help. So we did that. We did the same for a 300-liter deep freezer. We did the same for VRF, if you all are there. So it can come only through innovation. For that, I have to invest into R&D. So we, including, hiring expats like Japanese into our system or Chinese into our system to design it. That's where the difference can make. So all that we are requesting government is, under Atmanirbhar Bharat, please provide incentives for R&D. Without R&D, you cannot become globally competitive. That is point number one. Point number two we are saying is that, go ahead and grow the domestic market. So at least for 5-star or 4-star air conditioners, go ahead and make the GST 18%. Then the domestic market will grow. Then you can go ahead and ensure you are globally competitive. So a self-reliant India should come together along with global competitiveness, not pinching the pockets of Indian consumers, right? That is where we are. So these discussions are well understood by Honorable Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal. So therefore, it is going on smoothly.
And then lastly, if that is the case and you are insourcing IDU supply chain, in the longer run, if I look at the higher component, because the components and the whole IDU is still highly imported, in the longer run, as a company, does it make sense to really in-house what you're doing, or do you think I have to depend on a domestic vendor who can get me the IDU done and then I'll buy for him?
It depends.
What do you think?
It depends on case to case. Say, for example, number one, I want to make it clear is Blue Star is not going to get into all components. We will, for the foreseeable future, we are not interested in manufacturing compressors. We are not going to manufacture motors. We are not going to manufacture drives in-house. So whether the IP of the drives is ours, we will get it manufactured by a third party, either in India or any other country. And in India, the supply chain is available now. Motor, again, we are going and asking, anybody can go ahead and develop. We will provide all the cooperation. We commit our quantities to them. And coming to IDUs, the real reason for us is this kind of uncertainty, right? This year was a lockdown, a couple of years ago, summer. If you are dependent on China, you end up committing the quantities in December itself. And your supply chain month on month is choked. You can't do any kind of a correction out there. So it helps you in inventory management to the extent of even just in time. So therefore, IDU, yes. ODU, we are already. Drives, we have our own IP and we will go ahead and get it manufactured. Today we get it done by an Indian vendor as well as Chinese vendor. Tomorrow it may move to entire Indian vendor. The motors, we have an Indian vendor. We have a vendor from China. We have to help the government to crack this problem. That otherwise, all manufacturers will end up increasing the price of the unit by procuring motors at a higher price. We are bringing that angle to it, that you cannot pinch the customer's pocket and then call it Make in India.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amber Singhania from Asian Market Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for taking my question. Just two small questions. One, if you can give some color on the quantum of provision we have taken in segment 1 and the quantum of damage in retention in segment 2. And secondly, when we are saying that water purifier business, we are seeing a break even this year. So would it be fair to assume that the margin compromise which we have done earlier of 1.5% during the launch of this product will come back to the segment 2 from next year onwards?
Yeah, it was. I am taking the last question first. It was 1.5% year before last, that is FY19. FY20 it came down to 0.6. Now it will be nil. In fact, last year it should have been nil had the March gone on well. So your reading is right. It is no longer a burden for us. Now the focus should be to grow the market share from 2.5 to 3, 3.5 like that. So that is a part. Provisions we have taken is to the order of around 15 crores. Basically, we are concerned about if anything, if some projects are delayed beyond a year, some extra claims won't be settled and all. Proactively, it has been done as we had done in Q4. Your question on demurrages, it is 8 crores is the demurrage in segment 2.
Okay. So any further provision or demurrage?
It is demurrage and retention charges of containers all put together. Yeah.
And any further provision or damages is there to be booked in subsequent quarters and years?
Yeah, damages definitely not because it is all clear. The lockdown period one couldn't clear. This is again one absurd announcement by the government that the damages will not be charged. But then they are nobody. It's not government is charging demurrage. It is by third party who has taken the lease or a container leaser. So he is not going to waive it. That is where the entire industry suffered. But as far as the electromechanical projects are concerned, we think we have done adequately, but we have to wait and watch. The segment itself, how it moves. And we are at this point of time, while the project sites are opening up, the speed with which the execution is supposed to happen, it is not. It is going to take a little while.
Okay. And lastly, if you can give some color on air purifier and water cooler business. That's all.
Deep freezer and water cooler, air purifier and water coolers. Water cooler, the season is over and there is nothing, it's not a material thing to impact us. We have a 34% market share and that is not a business one should be worried. Air purifier is disappointing that we thought due to this coronavirus everybody will run and buy and nothing is happening there. You can track it also in your Amazon or Flipkart sites as well. So unfortunately, air purifiers is not gaining traction. I suppose within the residents there is no risk for people to be worried about. We can wait for the winter season whether pollution will be there and it will be. But as I have been saying, the whole market size is not even 250 crores, so there is nothing we should be concerned about.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Charanjit Singh from DSP Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So if you can just help us understand on this inventory part in the room AC space, because by the end of March, everybody was worried in terms of the supply side from China. So there was a huge inventory build up in the industry. And then we have lost, 1 month, 1.5 month of sales. So we are now talking about only, 1 month of extra inventory, whereas we have been earlier having 2 to 3 months of extra inventory. So if you can just tell us like what is the level of inventory in the channel and what is the level of inventory at your end, and if it is only 1 month of inventory, then why there's a 10 to 12% off, price cuts, and when was this price cut actually, initiated in the market in the room AC space? So
I'm talking for Blue Star now. The question is that from March last 10 days production didn't take place at all. April production didn't take place. So therefore, in fact, the room air conditioner factory started sometime in June second week only. So therefore, there is no additional material being produced is one reason. Second reason is, if you recollect, you might have seen my own TV interviews. What was the concern in February and March? Whether summer season there will be shortage of material. So we set up a war room. We were following up with China to dispatch as much as possible, but China could not also produce. So we were worried that there is going to be a shortage. So it's a God-given situation where the material were not getting dispatched in that quantity in the month of February or in the first half of March. Okay. When the lockdown was announced, we ended up cancelling quite a few orders and rescheduling it to second half. Okay. So therefore, the inventory pressure, it is not that I am saying there is no inventory pressure. It is there, 30 days more inventory is available in the system than it is required. And it comes with its own mismatch and other stuff. So therefore, it was managed in that respect. That's about all. And we never anticipated that. See, when you begin selling in the counters, you don't know how June is going to be. Correct? And therefore, everybody rushes to the stores and the dealers tell, I already have a material, how do I sell it? And in that context, the prices started dropping. And again, when June was over, for the month of July, we are disclosing to you, July stood at 77% of last year. Yeah, we were told in the beginning of July, now the summer is gone, nothing will get sold, and we were worried that there will be some lost opportunity. And the industry behaved like that. Right? See, pricing, we are not a price leader, you know that. We are expensive. We can only react to what is happening in the market, and that is how it is.
So thanks for the detailed explanation. And sir, on the commercial refrigeration, if you can highlight, how is the market right now? What's the kind of dip in the volumes which you would have seen, and going forward, how we see this market taking off?
We are very optimistic about that part of the business, and we saw in July huge recovery. Though the first quarter was pretty bad because of both water coolers as well as deep freezers. The deep freezer segment is driven by ice cream. And as you are all aware, ice cream was not classified as essential goods, and therefore while the milk and butter, cheese was getting distributed, ice cream was not. And to add to that, people consuming ice cream also substantially dropped because of the fear of cold, cough, etc., etc. So the ice cream industry had collapsed. Now ice cream going forward would have revived in August, September, October with the marriage season, but you know how the marriages are going to be conducted with 50 people or so. Therefore, it is not going to revive. We feel it will revive only in Q3 as far as deep freezers are concerned. Now, with the workforce not being there in full swing in the factories and the health concerns, water cooler also should not be seeing anything till Q3. But processed food, vaccines, pharmaceutical, these sectors have been supporting the growth. And therefore, I think going by what has happened in the month of July and quite a few significant orders that have come in, the most importantly the food delivery segment for cold storages or deep freezers, the things should be better.
Thanks for taking my question, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhavin Vitlani from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. 3 questions. First is on the cost side, we have seen 40% lower employee costs and 50% lower other expenses. What part of this is sustainable and what part of it will come back as the volume comes back? That's the first question. The second question is if you can give us any color on the energy rating change that was expected in 2021. What are the new timelines that the industry is expecting? The third question is if you can give us a color on the cash flow from the operating activities and how should one expect for the year as a whole? Thanks. These are my questions.
So the first question is about the cost. See, the employee cost has, whether it is a fixed pay, variable pay, and the headcount, new recruitment that is controlled, it is sustainable for the full financial year. I cannot state beyond that. We expect the full recovery in Q4, and therefore that is not a very permanent one in nature. That will form part of almost 40% of the total cost, okay, for the full year. Now, the other costs are variable in nature, right? Let's say, for example, the warehousing, logistics, even I would say advertising. Depending on the market demand and the situation, we will end up advertising. Right now, we are on a campaign on water purifiers with immunity protection. Festival season, we will end up advertising air conditioners, specifically with the COVID deactivating filter. So therefore, that expense is dependent on the market recovery. What I can indicate to you is, out of the total reduction, somewhere around 50% will be sustainable. Balance 50% will depend on the volume.
Sure.
And but you all should note that while the employee and the other expenses have been managed well proactively, finance costs we have a higher burden at this point of time. And last question you asked is with regard to year-end, what we are seeing. Neeraj can answer that in terms of borrowings.
Sure. So Bhavin, cash flow from operating activities is a high priority item on our radar. And as Mr. Tyagarajan explained, even in the project business, the reason we are prioritizing cash flow growth is with that objective in mind. So as we speak, we expect the inventory to get progressively liquidated, and that will release the operating cash flows into the system. We are doing reasonably well on collecting money from our customers, so we are not seeing a stress build-up over there. So we are taking very prudent steps on that count as well, and we are using a significant part of our free cash flows to ensure that we catch back on the overdues that we've had on some suppliers, which will also be done pretty much within the month of August. Thereafter, we will start applying our operating cash flows to reduce the level of our gross borrowings, so that by the end of the year, our target is to reach to a level of net borrowings anywhere in the range of 350 to 400 crores. So that's what we're trying to achieve, and the operating cash flows will play a major role in helping us achieve that.
Sure. The question on the energy rating change.
Energy label change should have taken place from 1st January 2021. That is getting postponed. It is very likely that it is from 1st July 2021. So we are telling this summer inventory management will become difficult. So take it to next year. The dialogue is on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhumika Nair from IDFC. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So just wanted to understand, you spoke about the phased manufacturing program for the component part of it. Ceteris paribus, if there was to not be a reduction by the Chinese vendors, what kind of increase of in component cost would be there if import duties were to be levied over the next 5 years?
I do not know at all how. See, first clarity that is important is all the Chinese manufacturers, as I mentioned to you, when the QCO was introduced, which is Quality Control Order, and they saw the Japanese market penetration is achieved. Now India is a growing market with only 7% penetration, started investing in India. Whether it is GMCC, Midea, Haier, their investment plans are huge. If I am not mistaken, even GRI was evaluating their options, when to enter, how to enter. The first clarity that has to come is what is going to happen to those investments. I don't think we should be preventing a direct investment if they are going to follow the law, if they are going to generate employment, if they are going to bring down the cost. That clarity is important. Now, if you are going to be in the phased manufacturing program, custom duty component is going up year after year. Chinese can bring down the price year after year, in which case there won't be any impact at all. The problem I told you is I do not think there will be a compressor manufacturer who will be competitive in India on his own. Impossible. They cannot match the Chinese prices. Second, do you have any other country which can give you? I explained this, I think, in the last call or in some TV interview. We have for deep freezers a Chinese vendor, a vendor from Spain, a vendor from France. But those guys are importing the components from China. So getting from even United States he will depend on China. It is so very well connected, and dependence is very high on China. The crankshaft of a compressor, that goes from China. And ironically, we have some electronics coming from Japan. And during this period, we find that Japan is not able to deliver because he is dependent on China for the chips. So this program is a 5-year one in order to actually understand and move forward. But my own personal opinion is, if a Chinese manufacturer is going to invest in India and manufacture, not assemble, fully manufacture, we should encourage them to do so. At the end of the day, the affordability of the consumer is important. Our own domestic market growth is important.
Got it. So the second question is on EMP segment. You said that, we will be more cautious in terms of where the cash visibility is there. Where do you see that, kind of stabilizing, and how quickly do you see the scale up there? And do you see further provisions that you made in the current quarter? I think you mentioned 15 crore provision in the current quarter that you made.
So the future provisions we don't as of now. The question is, it is not that we know we won't provide for. Let's say, for example, if we know another 10 crore to be provided for, we would have provided for now, right? That's the principle Blue Star follows. What we know, we will provide for, and in this particular case, it is not even we anticipate this much of damage would be there. That's what we have done. So we have to keep assessing as we move forward. Now, when it will stabilize, I really do not know at all. There are some confusing signals, as I told you. In Bangalore, we are doing a very large project where there is a hotel and mall involved. The customer says, go out and complete it. We thought, for example, that project will not happen for next 1 year. And we are executing 3 airports like Bangalore, Chennai, and Delhi. And we thought now airports will go slow, but there is a huge pressure to expedite these jobs. Now, you asked when it will scale up. I don't think we are interested in scaling up at all. Our interest is profitable growth with a high cash flow. And the risks are very high in the business, so therefore we are selective. And our focus continues to be good projects with good cash flow, high quality execution, and in buildings. Our focus is factories and industrial. Our focus is infra projects where the funding is assured through JICA or any other, Asian Development Bank or whatever it is, like metro railway, airports, and other things. So we are not focused on how to scale up that business. That it is not, especially at this juncture. Perhaps next year we will review how fast to scale up.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sandeep Tulsian from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, a very good afternoon. So my first question is on a comment that you had made in the previous call that the price gap between Blue Star and the more affordable ACs is reducing gradually, and the company is okay to sacrifice some margins to come in that affordable product range. So where are we on that journey? Have we further cut prices, and has that gap reduced further from say last 2-3 quarters to 1Q?
Yeah, so for one, you are right. Actually, is the strategic initiative in order to make Blue Star products in that affordable premium category. We had plans to do around 60% of our products to come in that range. Our product launch in January addressed that. Okay. Now that program continues, except that 60% we think is not good enough. We should move to 80% level. So that clarifies that. Okay. Basically because when it was 65% of the sales coming from tier 3, 4, 5, we anticipate it will be more than 75 because the rural and other tier 3, 4 towns seem to be growing faster, even during this June, July. So that is, therefore, we need to enhance that range. Okay. Second is, this is a moving target. So we assumed that with this price it will go on, but the market forces have had forced the prices to come down further, as I told you during this period. But I believe it is ephemeral in nature. So it should come back, the price realization, once the situation normalizes, because I don't think everybody will be interested in making loss and running the business or reducing their profits. Having said that, we are conscious of the fact that the future growth in our B2C portfolio is going to be driven by middle class and tier 3, 4, 5 towns. In B2B products, it is going to be driven by MSMEs and the large industrial or corporate customers. That is making us to invest more time, energy, efforts into product optimization without compromising on our image as a superior product and solution provider.
That's it. Thank you. And sir, second question, sorry, I had on the e-commerce side, you did mention it is about 12% of your overall sales now. In terms of market share, are you better off on e-commerce versus your offline sales or worse off? That's number one.
No.
And secondly, how does it fare in terms of profitability? Because a lot of channel costs are not existent in the e-commerce space.
So, I think this is a wrong period to be passing a judgment on e-commerce. I'm not saying that e-commerce will not grow. It's for a different insight I'm giving you. Because the dealers had higher inventory and e-commerce had also non-essential sales prohibited, and when they were permitted to sell non-essentials like air conditioners, retail put objection. If you recollect, it was stopped again, and then they restarted so that they have a level playing field. In this particular period, June, July, we saw there is not a big price difference between e-commerce and the regular channel. So therefore, it may be a wrong period to be judging. Next one, is only this week big sale is happening. So, during the past 3-4 months, we didn't witness any sale events of e-commerce which pushes up the volumes heavily. Now, market share of ours in e-commerce is lower than outside the channels. For example, the industry share of e-commerce in Q1 was 17%. And our share out of 100 machines we sold, only 12 we sold. If industry sold 100, 17 was through e-commerce. So you can imagine our market share is not in line with the industry share. So therefore, that is by design, because we will not compete in a particular price bracket. What is our way forward? Our way forward is we would like our share in e-commerce to be equivalent to that of industry. That is our goal. And that is not by compromising the margins, that is by developing products which will be able to compete.
Got it. Got it. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, while we have more participants in the question queue, we will be taking this as the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. With this, we conclude this quarter's earnings call. Do feel free to revert to us in case any of your questions were not fully answered, and we will be happy to provide you additional details by email or in person. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Blue Star Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.